Captain's Log, subdate 200624.5. I have managed to obtain a stasis cube from Subfleet, the intention being to place the worst of the worst into it, to live for eternity in an AI-controlled environment, run by their fear. Fantastic news. Welcome everyone to the Halls of Injustice. Before we start with today's inmate, there is a new video on Moisky Live concerning the coronavirus lockdown being eased even further. And I shall be streaming on Twitch tonight, both of which are linked in the description down below. So today we are going to be talking about Katie Weeks and Gareth Southcombe. More notably Katie Weeks, but Gareth is an integral part in all of this. Katie Weeks was a socialite who was married to a director called Martin Weeks. Martin Weeks was a director of an interior design agency and lived what can be described as a lavish lifestyle close to the millionaire's enclave in Poole, Dorset. Basically, she had it all. Very literally, had it all. But as is the case when you have everything, you need to get a thrill out of something else. Somewhat tragically, she did that, and went down a path that is incredibly dark. She started this path, treading it anyway, by having an affair with Gareth Southcombe. The having it all thing's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? Yeah, so the affair was inevitable. That's also cliche. Gareth Southcombe is a owner of a boat building company in the Poole Marina. Gareth Southcombe has actually got a history, and was in fact under surveillance by the National Crime Agency, the NCA, for the type of content that he liked to download. Do I have to embellish on that for you to fully appreciate what it was he liked to download so damn much? Eventually, Gareth wanted to expose the affair. He wanted to go public. So Katie Weeks decided to send him the very images he liked to download. Can you guess the content yet? Just to give this some perspective, she knew what he was, and then chose to prevent him going public to obtain the material to either blackmail him or sate his hunger. But since this all led to them chatting about it online, enthusiastically about the thrill of obtaining such content, it is safe to surmise she got a thrill out of this too, and it was entirely to sate him. It can be safely assumed that she and he are both as guilty as each other in this, for feeding off of each other, for her getting a thrill out of giving something that gave him a thrill that he should never have had and she should never have obtained. This happened in mid to late 2017, and it wasn't until 2018 that Martin Weeks, the ex-husband, was notified of just how dark this path was, because it wasn't until they came knocking, the police that is, to arrest Katie Weeks, that he then found out what she'd been doing. Something which has done long-term damage to him psychologically because of what she did. Now granted, it pales in comparison to those affected who were in the images that she obtained, but it is still another victim to add to the list of people they have harmed. Upon the arrest of Katie Weeks and Gareth Southcombe, the police interviewed them both, and this is where something quite telling took place. Gareth Southcombe took full responsibility. He pled guilty and admitted to having over 43 indecent images on his computer, which is rather interesting because Katie Weeks had, just before getting arrested, sent him a message saying please delete the images, because that's how computers work, everyone. Once you delete it, it's totally gone. Right. Okay. He didn't delete them, by the way. He pled guilty, which I'm skipping a bit there, but we'll get to it soon. Katie Weeks, though, decided to say that she had been coerced, and because of the worry of this going to her husband, she felt that she was being threatened. She was a victim, yo. A victim in all of this. She denied the following charges: causing a child to engage in certain activities children should never be engaging in, taking indecent images of a child, and distributing those images. At the trial, she was found guilty. Pretty quickly, I might add. Gareth Southcombe was also found guilty, of course, but he had pled guilty. There's more to his story and we'll get to it soon. During the trial, Judge Stephen Climie, C-L-I-M-I-E, if I've mispronounced your name, Judge, my apologies, says that this is a case which involves offences of the utmost gravity, which have had a devastating impact on others. It is difficult to understand how and why such depraved ideas would be repeated by anyone. The messages demonstrated you both revelled in the exchanges, with the judge saying that Katie Weeks had not been coerced, but had been an enthusiastic party in the exchange of images, saying, Katie Weeks may regret what took place now, but I'm satisfied she was an enthusiastic party in this exchange of images as Southcombe was. You sent images to a man you knew was preoccupied with fantasies. Peter Cowley, mitigating for Gareth Southcombe, agreed that they both fed off each other, but also said that sending him to prison would cause the business he had built for 20 years to fold. I'm going to say this now. You were involved, you're going to prison. If your business folds because of your actions, then your business folds. And I feel sorry for any employee you have, because chances are, even if they worked for you, they're going to leave fast. They're not going to put it on their CV either. It's not like they can get a reference from you, or they would want a reference from you. So building a business for 20 years to have it fold because of this is entirely your fault. Peter Cowley also talked about how he believes that he was not his client manipulating Katie Weeks, and that it is impossible to ascertain who corrupted who because they fed off each other. James Horder, who was the prosecuting lawyer, solicitor, whatever, said Katie Weeks was having an affair with Gareth Southcombe, a man who did nothing to disguise he had an interest in children. Not only did they discuss that behaviour, she sent him images which are subject to this indictment. He did not disguise any delight in receiving these images. In May 2018, the NCA were investigating Southcombe and arrested him at his work at Poole. The images they discovered led them to arrest Weeks at her home. Her unsuspecting husband opened the door and she was arrested. Police found a message from her to Southcombe asking him to delete the images. The defending lawyer Audrey Archer had pointed out that Katie Weeks had never shown an interest in children before, but also accepted that she did deserve to go to jail, and that her client regrets putting everyone through a trial and accepts her wrongdoing in sending what she did to Gareth Southcombe. So what are the sentences? Right. Katie Weeks received 9 years and an indefinite sexual harm prevention order. That puts her on a register, by the way, for life. Gareth Southcombe got 2 years for the possession of those images, but also has an indefinite sexual harm prevention order, which also puts him on the register. As far as I'm concerned, my sentence is life without parole, but that particular life will be in a stasis cube. Yes, different kind though. Think of Star Trek Voyager. Your mind is sent to an AI, and the AI is fear. Eternity, essentially. But at least I don't have to waste valuable rations on you two absolute cretins. With this case, I'm very much interested to know what you think, but I also want to know something else. I'm half tempted to do a video now, or next week, on Chad Daybell and Laurie Vallow, updating the circumstances, but I'm also partially torn with whether or not I should sit on it for a little longer until more information comes out and the proceedings have been concluded. I think a full story is better, but I do want to know what you think, so please do let me know in the comments down below. If I don't see you on Twitch tonight, have a cracking Wednesday, and thank you all for listening.